it's me, Megs, and I am back with another quarantine and chill video. How are you guys doing during this lockdown? I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are upkeeping yourself and doing self-care and, you know, exercising at home and eating your healthy snacks, or at least trying to. So today's video is going to be my updated foundation routine. Some of you guys have noticed that my face looks a little different as far as the makeup application, because I look real smooth, and some of y'all been like, oh, you went overboard with the Facetune. Like, well, not quite, honey. Okay, it's not quite all of Facetune. I have been doing a new foundation routine which allows my skin to look really like whoa, and it lasts a lot longer, like hours. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. But first, I wanted to let you guys know I do have my skincare routine that I do with this routine. It really matters with having your skin really moisturized, and I noticed with having my skin super moisturized, my makeup wears a lot better. So I did do that. I will do a separate video about my, you know, makeup skincare routine, like what I do before I put on my makeup. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I am going to use the Urban Decay Rebound priming spray, and that is the same. I've been using this for years. It just feels so good. I like to double prime because double priming just works really well for me, so that's just what I do. So I'm gonna let that dry. I also want to make it very clear that this routine that I'm about to do, there's going to be a lot of product, there is going to be a lot of steps. Okay, this routine really isn't necessarily for every day. This routine for me is when I know I'm going to be out and about taking pictures or going to Instagram to take pictures. So I just wanted to let y'all know that, because I know some people are like, you use too much products. Like, I don't see why. You know, less is more. No, more is more. More is more. So I am going to use the TATCHA Silk Canvas primer. So I do double prime. And I've been using this product for quite a while now. But I do have to be careful with how much I put on, because on camera this can cause my makeup to look a little bit weird. So I'm only going to put on a little bit and rub this on in. So with this routine, what I noticed is that, like, after a few hours of wear with my foundation, sometimes I would notice cracking in certain areas. When I mean cracking, like you know, naturally your makeup will get old and it starts to want to kind of like break apart in certain areas, especially around my mouth, my smile lines, and in between here. So, you know, I kind of make sure that I apply the primer in those areas too. But I know a lot of you aren't new to this, because you've seen, of course, a lot of influencers do this. Okay, this is one. They do powder before their foundation. So I've been doing that too, and it changed my life. As far as my makeup life goes, it definitely changed my makeup life. So the powder I am going to use is by Coco. I've been using this translucent powder for a very long time. And, you know, I've seen people do the powder thing first, and I really didn't think too much of it until I actually tried it. I was like, oh, I have been missing out. So what I do is I just put on a little bit of the powder on just kind of like a flat brush. And I don't need a lot. I just put on the translucent powder in my, kind of like mainly my T-zone area, where I tend to get oily first, and where the foundation tends to break up first. And I noticed with me putting on like the powder first, it allows my skin to look a lot smoother too. So with double priming, of course, making sure my skin is moisturized first, double priming, and then doing this, it was like, whoa, what's going on? So I do put a little bit on my cheeks because I tend to get a little oily there. So I'm taking the powder and pressing it in. Like that. Okay, so that is on, and I know I look crazy right now. So now I'm gonna go ahead and go in with one of my favorite foundations that I've been wearing recently, or within the past year. is the Dior Forever, and this is the 24 wear high perfection skin caring foundation with sunscreen, and my color is N5. All of the products that I'm showing and using will be down in the description below. So I make sure that I shake this up really well and place this on the back of my hand because I want it to kind of warm up a little bit. I noticed too, since placing a lot of like the complexion products on the back of my hand and letting it warm up, it wears a lot better on my skin also. Because you know, like on Instagram and people on here on YouTube, they tend to go straight here. I mean, it works for some people, but I noticed for me, putting it on the back of my hand, allowing it to warm up, just allows the product to really melt into the skin a lot better. Alright, so I am going to use kind of like a flat top foundation brush. I'm sorry, it is a little dirty. Well, it ain't dirty. I used it once. So, so what I do is now I'm just going to kind of put this all over, because I want to make sure that I get kind of more of an even thin layer first and then build it. So now I'm putting on just a second light layer too, just to kind of get everything as far as the coverage I want. Again, this is not an everyday type of situation. This is when I know I want to be like real, you know. So that is on, right? So now I'm going to take my beauty blender that's kind of more on the wet side, and I'm going to take the booty part and go like this and just blend it all in. Just like really press it in the skin, because now I feel like now that I press it in the skin after applying the product with the brush and then pressing it in, it just looks a lot better. I feel like it tends to look more skin-like. I don't know if you guys can tell the difference right now and see. Alright, so that is that. Now I'm going to go ahead and start my highlighting. I am going to use MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC45. I like this concealer color. It's not too bright and it's not too like, you know, it's just in the middle, you know. So I'm just going to use 2 pumps of that and let it kind of like sit just for a quick moment to warm up. Now I use kind of like a small concealer brush and kind of rub it in onto the brush, making sure it gets kind of warm. And I place the concealer where I want it to go first, versus like directly using the beauty blender to place it, because I noticed that I get way better coverage by placing it first and letting it get kind of dry a little bit, and then blending it out with the beauty blender. Now I'm going to take my damp beauty blender and blend everything out. So as you can see, kind of like placing it first allows for a better coverage. And I let it get a little bit dry, not all the way dry, but a little bit, to get that coverage underneath my eyes. And I'm gonna take the remaining that's on the back of my hand and just put some here, put some here, and then of course contour my nose. And then put a little bit here to kind of like bring dimension to my forehead. I used to didn't do this, but I started to like how it looks. So I like using a brush now because I apply less product, because the brush is flat. So I apply less product and it kind of distributes better with a brush first and then going in with the beauty blender. Because sometimes I feel like with the beauty blender I can't really control as far as how much is on the blender sometimes. Alright, so I turned my light down a little bit, so hopefully you can kind of like see better what it really looks like. So now I am going to take a second concealer. Yes, girl, I'm using two. And I'm using the MAC Studio Fix 24-Hour Smooth Wear Concealer. This color is also an NC45, but for some reason it looks a little lighter than the Pro Longwear. So I want it to be a little more brighter and underneath the eye. So I'm just going to put a little bit. I'm just going to go straight in with the tube. From the tube, I mean, and just put it right there and blend it out. Alright, so that's that. So when I put the second concealer, I only blended it out pretty much from here to here. I didn't take it all the way right there because, no, I didn't want to do that. So whatever was kind of like left over on the sponge, the beauty blender, I just kind of hit these other areas on my face too. Now to contour, I am going to use cream. And I am going to use the Fenty Match Stick in Expresso. And I like to now like really rub it into the back of my hand like this. And let it get warm, you know. I am going to take this Eco Tools brush. It's kind of like a little angled brush. And I'm going to use this brush to kind of like place everything. Because I noticed like when I would directly put like stick stuff onto my foundation, like, you know, just drawing on there, it would like dig into my foundation that I placed and it would kind of like displace the foundation. It would like, I don't know the right word to use, but it would just like break up the foundation and then you're trying to blend it back out and it just looks, I mean, it looks okay, but it's just, I feel like it was more work. So I like using one of these angle brushes and I'm just gonna kind of like lightly tap it on. So now that I kind of have it placed, I am going to use my damp beauty blender and just tap in and blend everything out. And I like using the brush first and then blending it out because I feel like you're not using as much product to blend out. And it's easier to blend to get the look I'm going for. See how that's starting to like go like magically blend on together, girl. And also now with my contour, I place it a little bit higher to kind of like lift my face up because I have a round face. So I put my contour a little higher. I remember I was doing it more so like right here, but I put it like more right there. You know, I put them more right there and just blend it out. And I'm going to use the same brush, and whatever's left on the back of my hand, I'm just going to kind of tap my brush into it and go in with contouring my nose. Then just take my fingers and kind of blend everything out. And I am going to take the beauty blender and just blend out anything I might see. So the lines won't be as harsh. Now we're on to kind of like bake, because I like to bake a little bit while I do my eyebrows. So I'm still going to use the same beauty blender, but I'm just going to use kind of like the more blank side. And I'm going to use my Laura Mercier translucent powder. And this powder kind of has a hint of, like a hint of color, but not too much. So I am going to place this underneath my eye, and I really like applying powders with a damp beauty blender now, because I feel like it kind of like melts into the skin a lot better. So as you can see, it kind of gives a different look versus like the powder just being straight up dry. Like, I feel like my under eyes set a lot better with doing it like this now. So that is how that looks as far as like, I guess, me baking or whatever while I do my eyebrows. I like doing this too this way because I notice I use a lot less product, but I get a better coverage and look. So I'll be right back with my eyebrows on to finish the rest of my routine. Brows are on, so I'm just gonna lightly like dust off the areas that I had the powder kind of baking. Any areas that were kind of like, you know, building up. Okay, so now it's time to set the rest of my face with some powder. And I'm going to use the Laura Mercier. This is the translucent medium deep, and I am going to use a puff. And I'm just going to puff it on. So I'm just mainly pressing in the powder around the areas of my highlighted areas. So now I'm going to put on a powder in kind of like my highlighted areas to make it pop just a little bit more. This would be the Fenty Banana. For that, I'm only putting on like the smallest amount. And the reason why I don't bake with the Fenty Banana powder, because it's a little too yellow for my liking for it to be sitting on that long. So that's why I kind of like put it on like this and then like dust it off real quick. I don't let this sit too long like at all. Okay, so that is that for for the powder. I know some of y'all are probably like, girl, you are doing a lot, but I feel like I like it for like that super beat day. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my face. I'm gonna set my face like a few times, but I'm gonna use this Beauty Bakerie setting spray, and I like how it comes out because it's like a really fine mist. So I'm just gonna lightly set that really quick. Let it get a little dry. Then I'm gonna go in with my powder contour and my bronzer. Now I'm gonna go in with my bronzer because I love bronzer. I like the way it makes my face look. So I am gonna go in with two bronzers now. I am gonna use the Fenty Beauty Mocha Mami and Coco Naughty. I know you probably like, why are you using two bronzers? So I'm gonna take the darker bronzer first and use it, and then I'm gonna kind of use the Coco Naughty to kind of like blend everything together, because I noticed when I would just use one color, this is just out of preference, like you don't have to do this at all, but I noticed that I wouldn't get that kind of like gradient glow effect with just one color. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I noticed a difference. Okay, so I'm gonna use two. I'm gonna use this one and then use this one. Okay, y'all, so this is kind of like how everything is looking with the with the two different bronzers. This is how my face looks without the rest of my makeup, without the blush, without the eyeshadow and all of that good stuff. So what I'm gonna do again, I know some of y'all are like, girl, what? I must say it one more time. Really light. And then I'm gonna move on to doing my eye makeup and the rest of the look, and I'm gonna come back and show you guys how it kind of wears after maybe an hour or two after I take some selfies. But this is kind of like how it's looking right now. I like it. I mean, I guess that's all that matters. But I wanted to get on here and share, so I will be right back, y'all. So this is the final look as far as my foundation goes. Excuse my wig, I'm not gluing it down. Okay, I'm not gluing this down, so it is what it is. Okay, so this is how my face is looking. I like this foundation routine for myself, especially for selfies and for Instagram purposes and out and about, you know, purposes whenever I do get to go back out again from this lockdown. So if you guys do have any questions, feel free to ask me. I totally understand that this routine isn't gonna be for everybody, but I wanted to get on here and share my updated, you know, real beat routine. There's levels to the beat. Of course, I don't do this all the time, but when I want to be like super snatched, this is what I'm gonna do. So everything that I use will be down in the description below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.